We all chase it, talk about it, often feel this pressure to achieve it. I'm talking about success.
Hmm.
The internet is just overflowing with tips on how to become successful, getting that promotion, making six figures, maybe becoming a viral sensation. But here's what's really interesting. Do we actually agree on what that word truly means? Or are we all kind of running on different definitions?
It's a great question. And, well, when you think about it, there are over 7 billion people on the planet. It just immediately shows how subjective success has to be,
Right.
right? What's absolutely spot on for one person might be completely wrong for someone else.
Right.
Traditionally, yeah, success has often been sort of boxed into achieving these specific external goals, social mobility, wealth, career stuff.
Right.
And the unspoken message really has been that anything less is, well, somehow a failure. But you see so many people who achieve all that, all those traditional benchmarks, only to find themselves feeling, I don't know, empty, dissatisfied.
Exactly. It's almost like a paradox, isn't it? So our mission for this deep dive is really to peel back the layers of this hugely important concept. We're going to dive into a stack of really compelling sources, including articles from Intelligent Change and Exceptional Futures, all focused on how we define, and maybe more importantly, how we redefine success. So get ready to gain some maybe unexpected perspectives and maybe do a bit of personal growth along with us. Okay, let's start with the most common, the traditional viewpoint on success, the one many of us probably absorbed growing up. This usually revolves around, a successful business, a high-paying job, that six or seven-figure income. For others, it's really rooted in family life, a good marriage, raising kids. For the longest time, society has pretty much created and reinforced these specific definitions.
Yeah. And what's truly fascinating now is seeing how these deep-seated markers, especially work and family, are, well, they're shifting dramatically. More and more people are opening up about feeling unfulfilled by, just climbing the career ladder. We're also seeing a growing number turning away from, or at least rethinking, traditional family setups. They're actively forging their own paths to happiness. It really highlights how much our perspectives shaped by culture affect how we feel and our ability to feel genuinely fulfilled.
That makes me wonder then, if someone chooses a different path, maybe a lower paying job that feels more meaningful, or they decide not to have kids, does that mean they're like banned from the successful club in society's view? Or is there maybe something inherently wrong with these narrow social norms? Are they too restrictive?
That's a critical distinction to make. It's a modern way of looking at success. It's really about breaking down those stereotypes. It's about adopting a much more individualized approach.
Yeah.
We need to separate true success from what I sometimes call symbols of success.
Ah, okay. Symbols of success.
Yeah, think about it. The expensive car that loses value instantly.
Right.
Or that huge house with the mortgage that feels like a burden, exclusive club memberships, designer clothes that are, out of style next season. These often aren't really signs of success. They just signal a willingness to spend or maybe take on debt. It becomes this competition that, honestly, no one really wins.
Uh-huh.
We chase them because we think they mean status, but they rarely bring lasting satisfaction.
That's a really powerful point. It reminds me of some, really prominent figures, people who achieved everything society defines as success, but still felt they needed to redefine it. Richard Branson, for example, he said, "Too many people measure how successful they are by how much money they make. In my opinion, true success should be measured by how happy you are." Or look at Oprah Winfrey, a giant in media and wealth, right? She defines success as being used in the greater service to life. It's about contribution for her, not just accumulation. And even Barack Obama, after reaching the absolute peak of political power, he measured his success by the change he could make in others' lives, not just the title.
And if you connect that thought to just the broader human experience, it's pretty clear. Even those who tick every single traditional box often get to a point where they realize, okay, this isn't quite enough.
Yeah.
And then they start that journey of redefining success on their own terms. It really shows that success isn't, and probably shouldn't be, this one-size-fits-all thing. Instead, it's much more about cultivating personal happiness, building healthy relationships, developing certain character traits, and fundamentally just growing as a human being.
Okay, so if we're moving beyond those conventional ideas, what are the core mindsets, the approaches that really underpin this new definition? Let's unpack some of those key pillars.
Right. First up, a concept many people know, but its application here is key. Growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. We often say success isn't linear, and this is exactly where that idea comes into play. Real success is often less about the final destination and much more about the journey itself, the process.
Okay.
A growth mindset means you lean into experiences, especially the tough ones. You see mistakes not as failures, but as, like, valuable data, lessons learned, opportunities to adapt. That's totally different from a fixed mindset, where people believe their abilities are set in stone. That belief often makes people avoid risks, and they see even small slip-ups as disasters. When you're redefining success, you're stepping off the beaten path, right? So a growth mindset helps you handle the doubts, the judgments, all of that.
That makes sense. And building on that, there's this interesting contrast you mentioned between a purely competitive approach and a gratitude-based one.
Absolutely. The traditional business world, it often pushes this really unhealthy kind of competitiveness. Sure, it might get you a promotion or a bigger paycheck, but it can absolutely destroy relationships along the way.
Hmm.
People might win the climb, but they lose trust, they lose allies, things that actually contribute a lot to happiness.
Hmm.
Healthy competition exists, sure, it can drive innovation, but the danger is when it becomes zero-sum. I win, you lose.
Hmm.
The gratitude approach is a really powerful alternative. It's not just saying thanks. It's a deeper shift in how you think. It trains your brain to actively look for the good stuff, the abundance in your life, even the small things. This changes how you define achievement. It moves from just external wins to appreciating the internal richness, your experiences, your connections. It kind of rebalances things. And that leads us straight into the next pillar, putting relationships before purely self-serving outcomes. We've all seen it, maybe even done it, sacrificing friendships, family ties, respect from colleagues, all for one specific goal. This often leads to what's called a Pyrrhic victory. You win, but the cost is so high, it feels like a loss.
Right, you end up alone at the top.
Exactly. Isolated, maybe full of regret. A truly successful life, whatever path you choose, is so much richer because of the people you share it with. It's about being part of a group you genuinely enjoy, people who challenge you, inspire you, people you respect. Valuing that solidarity, nurturing those healthy relationships, it's not just a nice bonus, it's fundamental to a life well lived. And finally, perhaps the most empowering pillar, living your life on your own terms. I mean, from the moment we're born, we're bombarded with do this, don't do that. From family, school, society, culture, we absorb all these beliefs about what success is, what being a good person means, what's right, what's wrong.
Hmm.
The challenge is a lot of those absorbed ideas just don't fit us as individuals.
That's so true.
Think about historical examples like the suffragette movement. Those women challenged deeply ingrained societal values because those values didn't align with their core beliefs. So the ultimate goal in redefining success is to quiet down all that external noise, the shoulds, the musts from everyone else, and really tune into your own inner compass. Ask yourself, what are my core values? What truly ignites my sense of purpose? What's my calling? What brings me harmony? What gets me genuinely excited to start the day?
I couldn't agree more. And when you embrace that, you realize success isn't just about those big, flashy achievements. It's also found in those seemingly small, but actually really essential victories, like having the courage to stand up for yourself, or the bravery to take a calculated risk, the commitment to change a habit that's holding you back, resilience when you face challenges, or even just the simple act of choosing to do things you genuinely enjoy while, staying true to yourself and being a decent person. Okay, so this is all really insightful, but let's make it practical. How can you, listening right now, actually start this process? How can you begin redefining success for yourself, maybe starting today?
Let me share a quick, really compelling example. I worked with a client, Laura. She grew up in this really close-knit community right by the ocean, and she achieved what pretty much everyone would call success, right? Great academics, doctorate, prestigious job, the ideal family life on paper. But underneath all that, Laura felt this deep disconnect. She loved her actual work, but she had no control over her schedule. It was hard to be present for her child. Then the pandemic hit, blurring all the lines, and she realized just how much she missed that deep sense of community from her hometown.
Ah, okay. The pandemic really brought things into focus for a lot of people.
It really did. So Laura talked it over with her partner. They basically had a choice: stay in a big city feeling kind of isolated, or move back to her hometown where all those connections were. They chose her hometown. And through the work we did, Laura realized her definition of success hadn't just evolved naturally. It needed to evolve consciously. It's like success is a living thing. You have to revisit it, realign it throughout your life. So now, Laura's life truly reflects her evolved definition. She's reconnected with her community. She's more present for her kid. She still does her meaningful work, but virtually and on her own terms. She found genuine happiness by aligning her life with her values, not just society's checklist.
That's such a powerful story. It really shows it's possible to craft a life that actually resonates with you. So, for you, the listener, here are some questions you can ask yourself to kickstart your own journey of redefinition. First, just take a moment. How do you currently define success in one specific area of your life? Maybe career, relationships, well being. What are those traditional markers you might be chasing? Second, dig a bit deeper. What cultural influences, family expectations, maybe even peer pressure have shaped your view on this definition up to now? Try to pinpoint those narratives. Third, imagine you have a blank slate, total freedom. If you could redesign that part of your life, how might it look different? What would truly bring you fulfillment? Fourth, think about your journey so far. Has your view of success on this topic already started to shift? If yes, how? What caused that change? Fifth, let's get practical. Based on that ideal vision, what concrete actions, even tiny ones, could you take this week or this month to start aligning your current situation with what you genuinely want? And finally, think about support. Who could you partner with? A mentor, a friend, maybe a coach, a family member, someone to support you in making these changes real.
Yeah, and once you have those insights, turn them into actual plans. Map out some steps to implement the changes. Keep track of your progress somehow. And crucially, remember to celebrate every single success along the way. No matter how small it seems, each step forward is a genuine victory.
It's clear the word success carries just immense weight in our society, doesn't it? It often comes bundled with this heavy set of expectations about what we should do, should achieve, should have.
Absolutely. And the bottom line really is the deep necessity to look inward. Yeah, true, lasting success isn't really found in chasing external validation. It's about having the courage to redefine it for your individual life. Because, what's the point of achieving something if you can't genuinely enjoy it? If it doesn't bring you peace or purpose or connection?
Mm. If we had to boil it all down, maybe success isn't about crossing some imaginary finish line. Maybe it's more about cultivating freedom, harmony, purpose, and, well, love in your life. Love for yourself, love for your work, for the people around you, even for the planet. When those four things are truly present, somehow everything else just tends to fall into place, doesn't it? So as you go about your day to day, just ask yourself, what does success truly mean to you? And maybe are you ready to redefine your perspective?